Are you ready to go from dark to light? I'm Tonyah Dee, registered dietitian, and I believe we live in a body, we have a soul, and we are a spirit, and it's important to feed all three parts. This month's theme for feeding body, soul, and spirit is going from dark to light. Coming out of winter, when it's been the darkest season of the year and we're going towards spring, which has more light in it, it's a good time to reflect on what were those things during this dark time that came forward for you, that you saw, that made you feel kind of small, kind of dark, kind of heavy, was holding you back or making you not feel good. This is the time of the year to really identify those things and begin to let them go. Whether it's a thought in your head that was creating some dark feelings, or a person in your life that was making you feel not so good. We look at the things in our lives that that aren't serving our light, that's putting out our light and making us feel bad. We will feel bad when our light is being diminished. So it's real important to continuously, all throughout life, look at those things that no longer are bringing us towards the light, but are actually creating more darkness, and do everything we can to let those things go so we can continuously travel towards the light, become lighter, and when we become lighter, we have more life, we have more happiness, we feel better. So for the body, how I'm recommending looking and feeding the body this month is it's important to look at the food we eat. The food we eat is going to create an environment in our body where either health, which is a feeling of lightness and strength, or possibly disease will occur. So food is very, very important. We could even look at the food we're eating is going to create for our body an environment where even bad bacteria can overtake good bacteria. So this fight of dark and light is just going on inside of our body. Even with the microbiome, our system has these micro systems inside of it. And it's the food we eat that's going to affect those systems. And when your body begins to break down or have disease, we need to look first at the food that we're eating. We make sure our food that we're eating is not causing our body to be toxic and break down, or causing the body to feel too heavy. And we start to provide our body with the foods that that our body needs. We need certain foods in order to be healthy. So we have to make sure that we're giving our body those foods. And if you're starting to feel down and heavy and dark in your body, if you have some disease going, you really need to look at what you need to let go of at the same time so that your body can reestablish that real healthy environment so that you can be happy and you can be healthy. In our soul, now remember, our soul includes three parts: our mind, our emotions, and our will. So the soul is very, very active already. Now there are things out in the world that are titled or labeled psychoactive. And what this means for me, what I've learned, are things that are psychoactive are going to activate your soul even more. And so these things are alcohol, drugs, medicines, even natural medicines. These things are activate our soul. It makes our soul more active, louder. And part of the goal with our soul is to keep it under check, like have self-control, soul control. Like we don't want our soul to be too active, right? We don't want our thoughts to be too all over the place. We don't want our emotions to be too active. We don't want our will, our actions to be elevated. We want to be calm and cool. So just be careful about incorporating things that are titled psychoactive, and test for yourself, if you do add one of these things, how active your soul gets and how hard that becomes to manage. So anyway, let's go ahead and talk about the mind and how important it is to control the mind. Our mind is so powerful. Our thoughts always lead to an emotion. Emotion often leads to an action in our will. So a lot of it starts with how we're thinking, and we really need to control our mind. And one of the ways we could do that is just through observation. Just know that your mind has false thoughts and true thoughts. And it's not always that helpful, but sometimes it is. It's trying to solve a problem and it can help you, or it's trying to help you to survive some situation. But you do really have to just watch the mind. That's controlling the mind. And the mind is attached to the mouth very often. Make sure that you don't just say everything that you think, because words are also very, very creative. So the goal is to control the mind through observing the mind and not letting the mind run the show. It can have input, but it should not be in charge. I'll get to who should be in charge later. In our emotional area, how to feed our emotions is emotions, if we don't express our emotions, they tend to build up. If we have a conflict on the outside and we hold that conflict inside of us without expressing it out and sharing what we're feeling, it becomes an inner conflict. So it's important to share our emotions. And ideally, you share them with a trusted friend or a therapist, or you can trust them with a higher power. You can share your feelings with God. You can write them down in a journal. But get them out of the body, because emotions have energy associated, and that energy can become, if there's too much stored emotion, that emotion can feel dark and heavy and can really slow you down. So the goal is to release those emotions and you'll begin to feel lighter. In our will, it's important sometimes that we take a clean break from the past. It's okay to explore the past and get the emotions out about it, but at some point, it's important to just take that break from the past, from a relationship that was in the past that's not working. You can love them from afar, or some past thoughts that you used to have about yourself. You begin to create new thoughts about yourself, and this is taking a clean break. We want to take a break from the past. Especially right now, we're moving into the spring, into our year, and we would just want to leave those dark things behind. If those things from the past were dark for you, just leave them behind. In the spirit, how to feed the spirit this month? Well, realize that God is light. So that's comes right from the Bible. God is light. And God is living in our heart. So we have a spark of divine light in our heart. And the more we seek that light, the more that light begins to grow. And what we want is to have God's light shining through us and in us and out from us, because God's light is wisdom and clarity. So God, or higher power, whatever you want to call this source that lives deep within underneath your soul is supposed to be managing your soul and feeding the body and feeding the soul good information, like good thoughts and good emotions and good things to do with our actions. So God is light, and in him is no darkness at all. So if you're feeling a little bit dark, you might want to ask yourself, how's your relationship with God? So anyway, I hope this was helpful. I'm Tonyah Dee, registered dietitian, and I hope that you have a lot of spring in your step as you move towards more and more light in this next month. Thanks so much.